Now at 9, another round of wintry weather moving in. I'm going to break this down for you.
Plus sentencing for the fourth suspect out of 9 in a Lawrence County murder case. And how inflation is impacting an area nonprofit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. Possibility for a lot of ice across the 4 states. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy. Doug.
Yeah, anything over about 1/10 to 2/10 of freezing rain is a lot of ice, and then anything upwards of 1/2 inch of sleet. Not stuff we want to see. Winter weather advisory in effect. Most of us, and then a winter storm warning in our far northern and also western counties. We've had some hit-miss showers throughout the day, but along the front we got thunderstorms which are firing up, and some of these are a little bit stronger. We're not seeing anything severe. I don't expect to see anything severe as we go through the overnight hours, but we are going to get some strong storms, especially late tonight as this front starts to work down toward the metro area. Of course, I'll break this all down for you here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. A Missouri judge sentenced the 4th of 9 suspects in a 2020 kidnapping and murder case in Florence County, Missouri. Kimberly Henderson pled guilty and is sentenced to 25 years in prison for first-degree robbery. Authorities say Henderson is one of 9 people involved in the kidnapping of 2 women and the murder of one of them, Sarah Pasco. The other woman survived. You can read more about the crime, including the sentences for the 3 other suspects in this story at KOMNewsNow.com. Coffeyville, Kansas man learns his prison sentence for a drive-by shooting death. A judge sentences Benjamin Mason II to 25 years without the possibility of parole for killing 19-year-old Kimberly Meeks back in 2019. Mason pled no contest to a charge of first-degree murder in the case. He had originally been charged with a number of other crimes in the shooting, including attempted first-degree murder, but those charges were dropped as part of a plea deal. Mason was 18 at the time of the shooting. Independence, Kansas police arrest 2 suspects who allegedly threw a chemical bomb out of a vehicle. The incident happened on February 2nd. Police say Kendra Musgrove and Josh Wallace made the bomb, threw it near the home of Wallace's ex-wife. Both Musgrove and Wallace are charged with criminal use of explosives, attempted criminal damage to property, aggravated assault, and attempted arson. Well, inflation remains an issue for consumers, but its impact continues to be a burden on nonprofits as well and the services they provide. KOM's Bronte Sorowski spoke to the Area Agency on Aging about ways those price increases have affected the help they provide to the community.
As people head to gas stations or the grocery store, it's hard to ignore price increases in everyday needs. For nonprofits, inflation affects the care they can provide to those they serve.
The fuel prices just in the last couple of months have skyrocketed, and they're just going to continue to go up. So that's something that we're constantly going to have to keep our eye on.
The Area Agency on Aging provides assistance to seniors throughout Southwest Missouri, from Lamar all the way to McDonald County. So a rise in gas prices creates some financial woes beyond paying at the pump.
That's a lot of miles per week that we're putting on these trucks. So, we have to replace the tires every so often. We have some trucks that are not really old, but they need a lot of maintenance so that we can make sure that they're going to go all the way down to McDonald County and back safely without any issues.
Inflation also impacts services like meals that the nonprofit distributes.
It affects our nutrition program primarily because of the food costs, serving meals at the senior centers, making sure we have all the components for the home delivered meals program.
All of their meals must be USDA approved. To afford to meet that requirement, the nonprofit has needed to increase their amount of fundraisers to fill in the gaps between funding they receive and costs they pay.
Our end goal is just to make sure our seniors are getting the services they need, and that's what we want to do, but it's a pretty big challenge with the way costs are going right now.
And while they've been able to continue their services, the nonprofit worries they'll need to start a wait list for people in the future. In Joplin, Bronte Sorowski, KOM News.
The Area Agency on Aging also says they've been dealing with a funding amount from 2009. What appears shoppers are shrugging off inflation. Retail sales in the month of January rose 3.8%. The Biden administration, though, and lawmakers on Capitol Hill still concerned about rising prices hitting grocery stores and gas stations across this country. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more details now from D.C.
It's a tough time to be a business owner. Many say they're struggling with the higher costs of supplies.
Seafood alone, 50%. Meat, 20% for us. Fillets, 100% increase.
But so far, higher prices haven't stopped people from spending money. In fact, a new report from the Commerce Department shows retail sales are up 3.8% from the month before. Online retailers saw the biggest gains, with furniture and automotive sales behind it. However, gas sales dropped 1.3% as the average cost of a gallon surges.
All the indications are pointing to higher inflation going forward.
Economists say booming demand is pushing against supply constraints, one reason why inflation is rising, and many don't know when exactly relief will come.
Retailers have worked very, very hard with their partners, suppliers, vendors to try to pass along those prices to customers that customers are looking for and can afford.
Inflation now a top political weapon for Republicans in the midterm elections, despite arguments from Democrats that the economy is booming.
We can do our part by stopping spending like we were drunken sailors.
The economy created 6.7 million jobs, the strongest year of job growth on record. We're obviously going to continue to build on this progress.
The Biden administration says it will likely need $30 billion in COVID-19 funding. But Republicans who are already worried about government spending have raised concerns about approving new money. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
Mercy Hospital in Joplin is changing its visitor restrictions to pre-pandemic policies, except when visiting COVID-positive patients. Hospital visitors will not be screened when they come in, but will still need to wear a medical-grade mask. Officials say the change stems from changes to Medicare and Medicaid services guidelines. Well, if you're wondering when states may get the chance to pull back on COVID-19 mandates, CDC says an answer could be here sooner than you think. Fox News national correspondent William LaJeunesse explains.
We are assessing the most important factors based on where we are in the pandemic, and will soon put guidance in place that is relevant and encourages prevention measures when they are most needed to protect public health and our hospitals.
Federal health officials say their indoor mask guidelines could ease in coming weeks. The CDC announcement comes as COVID infection rates continue falling, prompting the agency to adopt a new benchmark for determining when masks are needed, based on levels of severe disease and hospitalizations.
While we're not where we all want to be yet, we're encouraged by the dramatic declines we're seeing in cases and hospitalizations nationwide.
We want to give people a break from things like mask wearing when these metrics are better, and then have the ability to reach for them again should things worsen.
New York and a number of other democratically led states lifted their mask mandate over the last several weeks. Pennsylvania and California becoming the latest to back off. In Los Angeles and Philadelphia, proof of vaccination is no longer required to eat out or enter a sports arena. Still, the CDC encourages masks in all indoor areas to keep infection rates low, despite some states going in a different direction. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. F.E. McNally served in the U.S. Air Force from 1942 to 46. Native of Joplin, McNally was stationed in New Guinea, the Philippine Islands, Japan, and South Korea. And we are proud to thank and salute F.E. McNally. He's tonight's four-state hero. Meteorologist Doug Katie is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, Pitt State's Christine Williams breaking her own school record on the track and earning MIAA recognition for the second straight week. Details in sports.
Good luck. Well, it turned out to be another mild, very windy day for us today. Winds gusting 40 upwards to 50 miles per hour at times, which is absolutely crazy, and it's going to stay windy as we go through the overnight hours. All right, showers, thunderstorms starting to pick up in our western counties. As our front rolls in, we're going to see thunderstorms kind of stalling along the I-44 corridor. That's why we're under a flash flood watch. A lot of areas are going to pick up 1 to 2 inches of rain, which comes down quickly throughout the overnight hours. Then the other side of the storm, winter weather advisory in effect. Most of us, winter storm warning, northern and also western counties. All right, look at the thunderstorms popping up. This is along the cold front. These aren't severe. I'm not expecting anything severe. We can't rule out a low-grade severe storm, but I think just moderate to strong storms as these push in. The farther south they get, the more unstable the air mass is, which it's not really unstable at all, but they'll start to beef up a little bit. But you can see these from Fredonia, Neodesha. Let's track a little farther toward the north into these. Pretty good thunderstorm just south of Iola, just north of Chanute, and then these continue as you track a little bit farther toward the north and to the east. But these are just storms that are firing along the front. Main batch, which is really going to give us most of our rain, is now getting going in western parts of Oklahoma and then into the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Here's a cold front. It's already through Chanute, just to the west of Independence, so southerly winds ahead of it, northerly winds behind it, and temperatures are dropping quickly down into the 40s and the 30s over the next couple hours on northwestern counties. Heavy amounts of rain really picking up by midnight, and then periods of showers, thunderstorms right along the I-44 corridor throughout the overnight hours. Heavy rain continues. Here's 4:30 in the morning. Let's go all the way to about 7 a.m. The metro still rain, teetering with freezing rain, but still rain. Pittsburgh, you're freezing rain at 7 a.m. and then sleet back toward Parsons, Independence, snow in Yates Center. Let's go through the morning hours. Pretty good batch rolls through till about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we get a little bit of a lull. The dry slot starts to punch in, but we're going to be dropping into the 20s. Then the back band rotates in. This is by the noon hour, sleet, and because we're going to get so much sleet, that really keeps down those snowfall totals. And then we go over to light snow. Most of this is out of here by 3 or 4 p.m. as we go into the afternoon hours. All right, ice. We're not going to get a lot of freezing rain. Maybe an hour, maybe 2, but it doesn't take long to pile up upwards of a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more, and then we switch over to sleet and snow. All right, snowfall amounts, I've been tweaking this throughout the day. Mainly sleet along the I-44 corridor, so snowfall amounts only about an inch. That's it. And then once you get closer to Pittsburgh, probably 2, maybe 3. Nevada, probably 4, maybe 5. Chanute, 5, 6. Yates Center, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the heaviest amounts as you go a little bit farther toward the north. I don't expect road conditions awful through most of the 4-state area, but they're not going to be good. They're going to be tricky as we go into tomorrow. Dropping into the 20s, 14 tomorrow night, 39 on Friday, and then we warm up and melt everything off by the weekend.
69 degrees on Monday.
Yep.
See you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, still a tense situation at the Russia-Ukraine border.
Russia says it's ready to talk, but skeptics say the Kremlin is all words and no action when it comes to drawing back troops. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with the latest coming up.
Drug overdoses are skyrocketing across the United States. According to the CDC, about 104,000 people died from such overdoses in the 12-month period that ended last September. Now, that's twice the number as 6 years prior. COVID pandemic is partially to blame, and researchers say it's going to take some time to turn the tide. They believe even if COVID-19 went away overnight, it would take at least a year for the number of overdoses to stabilize. Russia claims it's pulling back more troops and weapons, but NATO says it sees no sign of drawdown of the roughly 150,000 Russian soldiers positioned near the border of Ukraine. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more.
President Biden talked again with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz as allied leaders push for a diplomatic off-ramp for Russia. President Vladimir Putin says he is ready for talks and that a drawback of Russian troops has begun. Words not all believe.
Watch what actually happens, not his words, because he is an unreliable narrator.
According to the White House and NATO leaders, intelligence has not found any evidence of a withdrawal.
Russia maintains a massive invasion force ready to attack.
There was concern Russia would begin an invasion Wednesday.
We are not afraid. Whatever is forecast, we are not afraid of any people, any enemy.
The administration says they are ready with sanctions if President Putin moves ahead with an invasion and are warning of Russian disinformation campaigns ahead of any decision by Moscow.
We believe an attack could come at any time, and that would be preceded by a fabricated pretext that the Russians use as an excuse to launch an invasion.
In the Mediterranean over the weekend, we've learned a Russian jet potentially came within feet of a U.S. Navy plane. The Department of Defense said situations like that could lead to more dangerous outcomes.
It could be one misjudgment, one mistake, one plane flying too close to another, one bad decision, and war could break out.
The State Department says they have not received a written response from Russia on what they need to discuss and how to de-escalate, but hope to have something in the coming days. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Still ahead, how a slip-up of one word resulted in a priest resigning and his parishioners unsure if their sacraments are invalid. The number of people being diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer during an initial screening jumped significantly during the pandemic. That's according to a new study in JAMA. Researchers also found the number of people initially diagnosed with stage 1 cancer fell. That's indicating patients put off preventative visits. Well, an incorrect use of a word by a priest has resulted in his resignation. It left parishioners in Arizona trying to determine if their marriages and baptisms are even valid. Fox's Matt Gelka has more from Phoenix.
One word has made a divine difference when it comes to the first sacrament in the Catholic faith, baptisms. Phoenix priest Father Andres Arango resigned and apologized after he had changed a pivotal word in the baptismal rite. The priest had been saying, "We baptize you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." The correct version starts with, "I baptize you." We spoke with ASU history professor Catherine O'Donnell about why the one-word change makes a huge difference.
In the case of baptism, to bring a child into the community of Catholicism. And so the argument is that because the wrong words were said, that thing didn't happen, right? The ritual didn't do the work it was meant to do.
Arango had been part of the Catholic Diocese in Phoenix since 2005 in various roles at St. Jerome and St. Gregory in Phoenix and St. Anne in Gilbert. He posted an apology letter through the diocese, saying in part he would dedicate his energy to remedy the situation. Other sacraments taken after, like confirmation, marriage, and holy orders, could also be invalid if the baptism itself is invalidated.
There is a tremendous amount of institutional cleanup that will need to happen for the parishioners who want to understand themselves as fully in communion with the church.
All right, up next, how this little robotic fish could help scientists study heart conditions like arrhythmia. The scientists say they've created a robotic fish that swims like the heart beats. Harvard University researchers, look at that, teamed up with Emory University researchers to create the first fully autonomous bio-hybrid fish. The artificial fish was made from human heart cells. It's able to move because it recreates the muscle contractions of a pumping heart. Scientists believe this technology is going to help them study heart conditions like arrhythmia, could one day lead them to being able to build an artificial heart. Technology is so cool, isn't it? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Officials with Freeman Health System announcing the theme of this year's 5K and Walk for Autism.
Ottawa police issuing new warnings to protesters in the nation's capital. I'm Alexis McAdams. I'll have details coming up next.
Break out those costumes because the Freeman 5K and Walk for Freedom is going to have a superhero theme. The health system announced the theme today at a press conference. The event raises money for the Bill and Virginia Leffin Center for Autism. Officials say the superhero theme was chosen because the money raised can make a whole world of difference for families.
The money raised here primarily goes to help us with program development to be able to provide services to individuals in the Joplin area and the four-state area. Also helps to fund our scholarship program for our younger children that receive intensive ABA therapy.
The race is April 23rd at the Leffin Center. It starts at 8 a.m. You can find sign-up information in this story online at our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. The East Newton Animal Coalition looking to track down a group of feral cats in Granby, Missouri. They say there's about 15 to 20 of them. The coalition wants to take advantage of its trap, neuter, release program, then ultimately find them a new place for them to roam. Ideally, they would like to send the rescued cats to a barn or a home that's going to allow them to live outside, because at this point the cats cannot be domesticated. The coalition receives no funding from the city and oftentimes comes out of pocket for the care of the animals.
If I had to say I was ever called to do something, this would be it. I've been doing this almost 30 years. I've tried getting out of it different times during my life, and a few months later I'm right back in the middle of it.
You can help the coalition through cash donations, and we've provided their info in this story on our website. Again, that's komnewsnow.com. Housing costs soaring to new records. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, the average home loan now stands at $453,000, and the average contract interest rate for a 30-year fixed home loan topped 4%. As homeowners face off with one of the most expensive housing markets in years, demand for loans is falling. Mortgage applications fell 1% last week. Truckers in Canada are dismantling the last remaining blockade along the U.S. border. This as police in downtown Ottawa warn protesters to leave. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams has more.
Canadian police telling protesters in the country's capital it's time to go home.
Gotta go. Time to leave.
Today, authorities in Ottawa began ticketing vehicles that are taking part in protests against COVID-19 restrictions. Officers handing out these notices to truckers, urging them to leave the area, saying, quote, anyone blocking the streets or assisting others in blocking the streets are committing a criminal offense. You must immediately cease further unlawful activity or you'll face charges. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invoking the Emergencies Act this week, allowing the government to ban blockades and tow trucks. But some say the government's actions are having the opposite effect.
I don't love confrontation. I don't like this environment. Every time he does something, it just kind of, it's actually just motivated more people to show up.
Protesters here on the ground tell me these notices are the most serious threat they've received from police so far. Law enforcement in Ottawa ramping up their response after the city's police chief resigned this week. Now, interim chief Steve Bell says authorities have reached a turning point.
We are increasing and improving our police service provision on a day-by-day basis. The geography of the occupation has shrunk over the last number of days.
As protesters remain in front of the Capitol, other blockades across the country are now clearing out. In Ottawa, Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Talk about cool technology, right? U.S. highway safety regulators approved new high-tech headlights in efforts to improve traffic safety. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration issued a final regulation allowing the adaptive driving beam headlights on new vehicles. Now, the lights can automatically tailor beams so that they focus on dark areas of roads. They can also reduce intensity instead of creating that glare for oncoming drivers. Regulators hope this move is going to reduce rising traffic deaths nationwide. The new regulations for traffic lights are expected to go into effect in the next few days. A bit later, more trouble for Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin facing a new lawsuit following the deadly shooting on the set of his movie Rust. I'm Marianne Rafferty. I've got the details coming up.
Well, it turned out to be another mild day for us today. Temperatures fantastic, mid-60s. A little breezy, though. We had winds gusting near 50, so we'll call it windy. And it looks like it's going to stay windy as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. All right, rain's really increasing. Flash flood watch through southwestern Missouri. I expect 1 upwards to 2 inches of rain before we even get into the wintry weather. Then a winter weather advisory. It doesn't include our far southern counties, Delaware, McDonald, Benton, and also Berry County, and then a winter storm warning in our northern counties. All right, here's the beginnings of this system. Of course, we got some rain out ahead of it, but these are thunderstorms which are getting going right along the cold front. Some of these are going to be strong, a little loud at times for us tonight. You can see from Sedan, north of Independence, Fredonia, and Neodesha. Let's track a little farther north and east. We'll head up towards Chanute. Pretty good guy just to the east of Iola, Humboldt, and then these stretch north toward Mound City, and these will continue to increase and head off toward the south and to the east. You can see all this moisture is going to kind of fill in all the way back into western parts of Oklahoma. Yeah, that was rough, wasn't it, Nick? But as we head into the daytime hours tomorrow, everybody's going to be seeing rain, then switching over to wintry weather. Here's the fronts barreling south. Fort Scott, about Parsons, Independence, northerly winds really picking up behind it. So it's going to be windy tonight, continuing into tomorrow. Showers, thunderstorms increasing, especially through the metro region by midnight, and then periods of heavy rain really line up right along Interstate 44. Notice the temperatures dropping into the 30s, dropping into the 40s. Let's go into the morning hours. Now everybody's into the 30s, 20s, northern counties. This is freezing rain and sleet. I do not expect roads to be bad early in the morning in the metro. I don't expect to go over to freezing rain or sleet until 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Pittsburgh 6 or 7, and then we'll get bands of freezing rain and sleet till about 9 a.m. A little bit of a lull, and then sleet picks up by noon, switching over to light snow, all out of here by about 3 or 4 p.m. We're not going to get a lot of freezing rain, meaning for a long time, but it could pile up in a quick hour, around 1/4 of an inch in a lot of areas, which could cause some problems with the northerly winds. Snow, because we're going to get sleet, snow amounts are a little bit lower in our southern counties. A dusting to an inch of sleet and snow. Joplin to Pittsburgh, 1 to 2. Pittsburgh to Fort Scott, 2 to 4. Real tight gradient here. Once you get up into our northern counties, 4 to 8 inches of snow. What about the roads? The roads tonight are just wet. But after 6 a.m., they could become a little tricky, and then they're going to be slick through tomorrow afternoon and then get better as we go into tomorrow evening. We drop into the 20s, eventually the teens tomorrow night. Rebound to 39 Friday, back to 64, near 70 by Monday.
And that's temperatures were nice today.
They were great.
Yeah,
The past couple days have been really nice.
Yeah. All right, Doug. Thanks so much. All right, business in the front, party in the back, and all heart. Reporter Meg Oliver introduces us to an Arkansas boy who took a pandemic hairdo, turned it into a prize-winning act of charity.
Why did you choose a mullet?
I just chose a mullet because I'm like, what would really embarrass my sister the most?
The Baltz family lives in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Like parents across the country, Lisa and Derek were desperate for creative things to do in 2020.
We started doing crazy things with our hair. Alice did her hair teal, I went red. Alan did a mullet, and my husband did a mustache. That was terrible.
What started as a way to pass the time morphed into more than a mullet for Alan. He added a faux hawk with lots of gel and then the curly perm.
How did you feel about the mullet?
At first, I was really questioning my parenting skills and allowing it to happen.
But when a friend told them about the USA Mullet Championship, everything changed.
When I heard there was like $2,500, I'm like, I'm just going to donate it to foster care if I win.
Why did you want to donate it to foster care?
I was in foster care and I know completely how it feels.
In 2014, Alan and Alice were in the foster care system when they came to live with Leslie and Derek.
We expected it to be a 2-week thing, and then they would go to another placement.
2 weeks eventually turned into adoption.
And when you think of the kids in foster care, what do you think about?
I just really hope they're feeling happy and hoping that a family will pick them, just like my mom, my dad picked me and my sister.
As the online mullet competition ramped up, voting was in Alan's favor. As word spread he planned to donate the prize money to foster care, independent donations poured in.
People just kept giving, and so the total was about $4,500 that the community has donated.
You won! I did not think that.
After 3 nerve-wracking rounds of voting, the kid sporting the cool shades and fresh suit had won the illustrious title USA Mullet Champion.
I was super surprised.
How many people have reached out to you since you've won?
About the whole world.
For now, the mullet may be here to stay, but for the Baltz family, this was never really about a hairstyle anyway.
If you had one wish out of all of this, what would it be?
Foster care to go out of business and no more kids being in foster care.
That's awesome. Alan donated the $2,500 prize money to 2 Arkansas foster organizations, Project Zero and Together We Foster. The Baltz family is still debating whether Alan is going to enter again to defend that important title. Coming up in sports, Pitt State sprinter earning conference honors after breaking her own school record. Plus, it's rivalry night for Pitt State and Missouri Southern basketball. Jacob Leonard joins us with the highlights next.
Well, this week is rivalry week for Pitt State and Missouri Southern basketball. The two teams meet twice in the next 4 days, beginning tonight with a doubleheader in Joplin. And we're going to start with the women's game. The Lions tied for first place in the MIAA, trying to push their winning streak to 12 tonight against the Gorillas. The Lions off to a fast start. Lacey Stokes, great no-look pass to Amaya Johns for the finish. Other end, Tristan Gegg, she had 13 in the first half, but Southern up 5 after 1. Maddie Stokes takes over in the second. Pick and roll from Lacey Stokes. 11 points, 8 rebounds from Maddie in the first half. Lions lead 36-28 at the break. And more Maddie Stokes in the third. She finishes with 25 points, 13 rebounds. Southern gets the lead to 14 in the third. The Gorillas fight back. Tristan Gegg, another 3. She scores a team-high 25. Then Sydney Crane from the corner. Pitt State within 7 going to the fourth. But Lacey Stokes, she's the MIAA Freshman of the Year. That's over, okay? Player of the Year, it's not silly. 11 in the fourth to close it out. She goes for 22 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. Lions roll by the Gorillas tonight, 80-65.
My teammates have a lot of confidence in me, and in those last minutes getting down the hill and being able to finish in the paint, having Maddie in there, it's hard to, if they switch, I go to Maddie. If they stay, then I get a layup. So it's really nice. Me and Maddie kind of work together in the fourth quarter a lot together.
Our pick and roll was really good tonight between Lacey and Maddie. So we got a lot of positive things there, and I thought we did a great job on the offensive boards as well. Second half especially, we went and attacked the offensive boards, got some second and third opportunities.
To the men's game now, Southern looking for their third win in 4 games. The Lions hot early. Winston Desiso stops and hits the 3. It's 9-0 Southern. Then Christian Bundy rolling to the hoop for the big jam. Lions were up double digits. Man, Pitt State, they got hot to close the half. Antonio Givens turns and hits the little hook shot. Tyler Hawkins drives, scores and the foul. Hawkins scores 18 tonight for the Gorillas, but tonight it's the Magic Relaford game we've been waiting for. 3 from the left side here. Later, coming off the screen, Relaford again. The Labette County High School product hit 5 threes tonight. Leads the Gorillas with 24 points. Big road win for Pitt State, beating Southern 95-82. Christine Williams is having a big-time indoor season for the Pitt State track and field team. Over the weekend, Williams broke her own school record in the 200-meter dash for the 3rd time this season. She won the event, the 7th annual Gorilla Classic, with a time of 24.07 seconds. That time is the best time in all of Division II this season. On Tuesday, she was named the MIAA Women's Track Athlete of the Week for the 2nd straight week because on top of her new school record in the 200, she posted a provisional qualifying mark in the 60-meter and helped her team do the same in the 4x4 relay.
It feels good because I've been through so much, so just to get recognition like that means just a lot. Breaking records back to back just shows that I'm improving over and over.
She's really developed her confidence on workouts, and our training has changed to kind of help her out with that.
Those workouts, they're killing me at practice, but at the end of the day, it helps me PR and break records, so they might kill me, but at the end of the day, I'm winning.
She's become a leader on the team, and just her overall confidence in her own ability and believing in herself, and she's starting to actually believe that she can run the 4x4 as well, and I think all that comes together, and you can see her confidence on the track.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Actor Alec Baldwin facing another lawsuit in connection to that deadly shooting on the set of his movie Rust. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has more on what makes this one unique, plus new animated footage offering a glimpse at how the whole shooting may have played out.
Legal troubles intensifying for Alec Baldwin and other Rust movie officials. The husband and 9-year-old son of slain cinematographer Helena Hutchins filing a wrongful death suit Tuesday, alleging reckless behavior and a lack of safety measures on the set of the Western film where Hutchins lost her life back in October.
Alec had the gun in his hand. He shot it. Helena was killed.
Attorneys representing Hutchins' family also releasing new animated footage depicting how the shooting incident may have looked. Baldwin was rehearsing a scene where he needed to draw a pistol from his holster and says he was told the gun was safe to use. Baldwin maintains he never pulled the trigger, but during the maneuver, the gun went off, killing Hutchins and injuring director Joel Sousa.
The gun cannot fire unless the trigger is engaged and the hammer is back. So he had the gun. He says he pulled the hammer back. It fired. She was killed.
At least 3 other lawsuits have been filed in the wake of the shooting, but this is the first by parties related to one of the gunshot victims.
It is a young boy who will never have a mother, and it's a man who lost his wife.
The lawsuit was filed in New Mexico, where the movie was being filmed. Attorneys say they expect to go to trial within 1.5 to 2 years. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
All right, coming up, the latest Spider-Man movie breaking a major box office record. That and more Hollywood news coming your way. Spidey's latest record-breaking milestone and a new era at Downton. It's all in today's Hollywood Nation with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Do sit down. Return to Downton. Barry is back and Spidey swings to the top of the Hollywood Nation. Spider-Man No Way Home has broken another record. The action-packed blockbuster is now the 3rd highest-grossing movie of all time at the domestic box office. Tom Holland's latest lead installment topped Avatar's $760.5 million record set in 2009.
This is the best place ever!
The How I Met love story flashbacks will continue. Hulu announced it's renewed the sequel series How I Met Your Father, starring Hilary Duff, for a season 2.
Oh, Barry, it's about to go off.
In today's Look at First Looks, HBO wants viewers to mark the calendar for Barry, with first look photos of Bill Hader and cast, and a season 3 premiere date revealed for April 24th.
A moving picture at Downton.
Plus, it's a movie within a movie for Downton Abbey: A New Era. A just-released trailer shows the grand next chapter, putting the spotlight on the estate itself, a journey to the south of France, adventures ahead, and discoveries about the past. Find it in theaters May 20th.
Why did you invite us here?
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of pigs on a Mexican beach. Because, pigs like the beach too. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.